While it's off record, I still want the act, not the ghost. Whoa.
Apparently there's been no noise. Whoops. So let's start the show again, shall we? Let's try that again.
While it's off record, I still want the act, not the ghost. Whoa.
Take two. Welcome back to the DC UK show. I'm your host, James Graham. It has been a little while since we've done one of these. I think it was back end of September. Actually, I think it was probably a little bit longer than that. But yes, it has been a tough old year. 2022 is the season's come to an end for us. It's been long. We've had lots of changes. Lots of things have happened. But, you know, we move on. That's it. We're done for 2022. There's been a lot that's been good. There's been a lot that's been bad. And there's been a lot that we've had. But, you know, let's move into this this episode. We've had lots of things. I know I've been away. I've had things happening up here, things down here, but it is what it is. I'm back for this week only. And then we're going to wait until next year for season 5 of the DC UK podcast, which is weird to say. Season 5. Absolutely mad. Crazy. But yes, I reached out to you guys over the last couple of days to find out what's been your highs, your lows, what you're looking forward to next year. If you hadn't seen that, then please do hit them up in the chat. I've also asked for your questions as well. So please, um, if you've got anything that you want to ask me, whether it's been DC related or anything else, I'm here for a general chit chat if you wish. Then do hit us up in the chat. And speaking of that, if you're new to the DC UK podcast, then please do subscribe. And if you are watching on YouTube, please leave a little like as well, because that always helps promoting the show, algorithms and stuff. So please, let's crack on. And we'll do the first trivia time question of the show. I might drop a little nugget in here and there, but the first question is DC United. Unfortunately, we conceded the most goals in MLS regular season this year with 71. But how many times have we previously conceded the most? So this has gone all the way back to 1996. So this year was the 27th season. How many times have we conceded the most? Now, bear in mind, we've had a couple of pretty bad seasons over the years. This one being one of the worst. But yeah, the record has been Cincinnati. They conceded 75 back in 2019, and Orlando in 2018 conceded 74. So we're not quite at the top, but it were pretty bad. When you consider the Romo, the Philly games, yeah, it's been tough to say the least. So that is the question. DC United conceded most goals in MLS regular season this year, but how many times have we previously conceded the most? Let me know what you think, whether it's in the chat or whether you're listening to afterwards. Just drop me a message, and you'll see if you're right later on in the show. So, yeah, it's a bit of an odd episode because it is the end of the year. It's not been a good year. We have got the wooden spoon. Normally, I would do like an end of season awards. You might remember that from previous seasons of the show, but I didn't really feel like it was a good thing to do this year. Not that I say there's nobody out there that deserves an award or anything, but when it's been as bad as it has been this year, I think it's very difficult to do that. I don't think it's quite the right thing to do. So, a couple of things I want to talk to you guys about. The sad one is the end of an era with Dave Johnson and the rest of the guys, Devon, Claudia, Moises, Luciano. Obviously, Dave has been here more than most, 27 years, more than most in MLS. I think he's one of the rare few who've been here from the very beginning. All because of the Apple deal. He's now no longer going to be calling the games for DC United. I think that's a huge miss. Genuinely, I think it's going to be odd. There's been some great calls over the years. One that sticks in my mind is when I was sat in a pub having Sunday lunch with the family, and it was the day after one of the Orlando games, not the tackle one, but the one where Wayne scores from our own half, where it pinballs to Rooney sees row out, and then Dave just goes, "Oh, it's in the net! Ow, it's in the net! Can you believe it? Yes, it's Wayne Rooney. Of course you can." Oh, that was a great call, because when I was in the pub, and all that happened was I just heard his voice, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm sat in a pub in a little village in the southwest of England, and I can hear Dave Johnson's voice, and then I turn around to see where that's coming from, and there's this kid that's just watching the highlights, and I'm just thinking, yeah, that's what that's about. That's what I mean, one, that's what Rooney brought the exposure, but being able to hear Dave Johnson making that call, like, and just hearing it in the UK, and somebody else that I'd never met, probably not even followed DC United since, but it was just the fact that it was just that element of, oh, it's MLS, it's Dave Johnson, it was just all that. It just felt brilliant just to hear it. So that's one of my highlights of the last few years, definitely, of hearing Dave Johnson and hearing him on a regular basis. Let's put it that way. Tuning in on DCUnited.com and all that. I'm gonna miss it so much. Miss just hearing him game in, game out. Dave, what can I say? You've been an absolute legend. I know you'll have seen my tweets. You've retweeted some of my tweets. You've said some very kind things about myself, but this is all about you, mate. Um, it's I love the way you do your calls. I love your enthusiasm, your passion. Um, just the your con- a thing that you always talked about was connection through community through connections. I think it is, and you are the epitome of that. And I'm if I can do what I do and have anywhere near the type of connections, no, I mean not even anywhere near, just some of the types of connections that you make, I will be a very lucky guy. It's just been insane. One, getting to know your commentary, but two, actually meeting you this year was phenomenal. And having you on the podcast and all the things that go along with it, it's been an honor, sir. A true honor. Um, Stu, I love that comment. Being stalked from across the pond by a disembodied voice, haunted by Dave. Could be worse haunts. It's true. I mean, we are coming up to Halloween after all, so there is worse hauntings. Um, Speaking of which, Halloween, what's everyone doing for Halloween this year? Um, I've got my little lad. We did spot a Captain America zombie costume because our little lad's into zombies. He loves doing that noise and everything. So I would love to get that. If you've ever watched the What If series on Disney Plus, go. You'll know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, go and watch What If on Disney Plus. Watch the zombies episode, and you'll see Captain America zombie. That's what I want to dress my little lad of. I think that'd be hilarious. It'd be funny as hell. But yes. Anyway, back to DC. I want to talk about obviously the way the season's unfolded. The fact that we've had numerous coaches, the trials and tribulations, the Hernan era and the controversy behind that. Then we had Chad Ball for a bit, which was tried to be a continuation of Lasada Ball, but didn't quite work out. And then Waza comes back into the mix and brings his own style. We see a lot more 4-4-2. We see players playing in different positions, which we weren't expecting. You look at Durkin playing on the right. So there's been some good bits and some bad bits. Just going back to my little thing about Dave, I was talking about Isaiah, just saying Dave's a great guy. Met him in August at Meet the Players event. Absolute prince of a man. I would say he's more royalty than Prince. I think he's a king. He is king of commentary, whether it's MLS or just general. The fact that he's still doing Wizards and all that, and still having the time for everyone, even whether it's online, whether it's in person, whether it's at the games, whatever. I don't know how he does it. And you look at it, he's got MS, and I wish I had my Dave Johnson shirt on, but it's in the wash at the moment. But I recently got it's in the Nets jersey that's been happily designed by Jim Enzo, who does the United Night Out. He does all that. He was done some great stuff there, raising money for MS Society. So I was happy to be able to get involved with that. So if you do want to support MS Society, want to support Dave Johnson and himself, I will I will post a link on Twitter and on Facebook. Get yourselves one of the jerseys. I've gone with the cherry blossom one because, well, as you can probably tell, I do like the cherry blossom stuff. So I like the pink stuff. So yeah, go and do that. But yes, back to where I was this season. Tough old year. I wanted to compare it to what's probably known amongst us fans as the worst year, which was 2013. And I wanted to compare it to see truly whether 2022 was as bad as 2013. For a lot of people, yes. And I think some people probably not. But there's aspects to this year which, for me, have been much worse than 2013, and vice versa. So let me go through some of the things that I looked at. So goals scored. This year we scored 36. In 2013 we scored 22. So that side of things not so great. But on the flip side, it's the fewest in both years. So we were the least scoring team in the league both times. Conceded. We conceded 59 goals in 2013, which was the second most. And this year we conceded 71, which I've mentioned at the start of the show, which is the most this year in MLS. So much more goals conceded at the back, much leakier. And when you look back at the Ben Olsen era, which is what 2013 was, we were more defensive. So from that aspect, yes, that's fair enough. Games won. We only won 3 games in 2013. That's not good. This year we won 7 games. So from that aspect, yeah, we won more games. So we won 4 at home and 3 away this year. And it was only 3 wins at home in 2013. So that's better from this year. Games lost. We lost 24 back in 2013. So we lost 10 at home and 14 away. This year we lost 9 at home and 12 away. So fewer games lost, which is good. So points per game wise, 0.47 back in 2013 and 0.79 this year. So points per game, again, better. More entertainment on the pitch because there's more goals. But it was the fact that we had 3 coaches this year. That's been very tough. And the controversy that's gone behind that has been very, very tough. Stu just coming in there, just saying that we did buy a striker not known for scoring goals in later years, but I was disappointed by the lack of impact Benteke had. Was hoping for a Villa Benteke. And if you don't know what that means, and you are just a guy or a person who follows MLS, then Benteke, back in his early days when he was at Aston Villa, he was lethal, to say the least, back in those Villa days. He was fantastic, which is how he earned his move to Liverpool. He was brilliant. But when you look at his record over the last few years, you look at his record at Palace, you look at his record at Liverpool as well, it wasn't particularly great. But Wayne has seen something in him that says he's the guy to lead us forward. That was a slight pun in there with his position. So if I look back on his stats throughout the years, let me just load that up. I'm just so 2021, 2022 season, he scored 4 times. 2020, 2021, he scored 10 times. You look at the last time you're going back, he's not scored more than 20 goals in a season. He's not scored more than 19 in one season. You've got to go back to 2012, 2013 season to when he scored 19 times in 34 appearances in the Premier League. He scored 4 times and 5 appearances in the League Cup to go along with that. So he did score quite a few times. But other than that, when you look at his Liverpool record, he was there for he was only there for a single season. He scored 10 goals in 36, 14, 42. So 10 got a goal every 4 games. And then he's been at Palace since 2016. And he scored 17, 20, 21, 22, 20. No, I'm not even going to count that to Premier League 2, 22, 32, 36 goals in the matter of 6 years. Yeah, that doesn't scream out and out goal scorer right now, does it? So it's just saying 3 gaffers in one season, 1 goals allowed, the refusal of this club to defend our best player and demand an end to this farcical. With that bit, I'm assuming are you talking about Taxi there? With the refusal to defend our best player. I mean, I'm intrigued to see what does come out, because obviously I can see it from both sides. I can see if he hasn't said anything, then it has been a farce. Why is it taking this long to even think about the investigation? We've lost 3 weeks, and if it comes out that he's innocent, then we've lost lots of game time of Taxi. That's through no fault of our own. When if he's guilty, then bye bye, see you later. But if he's innocent, then that's appalling. Really is appalling. We shouldn't have to be waiting around this long for anything like that to happen. So yeah. Comparing the 2 seasons, you've got fouls committed. I thought that was a little one to look at, see how aggressive we were. In 2013, we committed 393 fouls, which is just over 10 a game. That was the 5th fewest in the league. So we weren't that aggressive back in 2013. This year, we committed 463 fouls, which is the 5th most. So we're going from 5th fewest to 5th most. But you can also argue the point that the refereeing standards will have changed and the rules have slightly changed, so you can't really compare that. But when it's 70 fouls difference, a couple of fouls a game, which surprised me when you look back at some of the early days of the year when we were conceding like 19, 20 fouls in a game. That was, I'm surprised it's actually that low. Then penalties conceded. We conceded 7 in 2013, which was the 3rd most, and this year we conceded 5 penalties, which was joint 17th in the league. Then offsides kind of shows a bit of attacking intent from this side, I would say, but attacking intelligence as well. So we were offside 101 times in 2013 compared to 50 times this year, which is the 9th fewest. Doesn't tell me that there's a lot of balls going forward. Disciplinary record, we were being, when you compare it's obviously more fouls this year. We've conceded a lot more yellow cards and red cards. So we had 70 this year in terms of yellow, 5 red cards. Was in 2013 we had 52. So, but no red cards. And then trophies. When we won the trophy in 2013, obviously we didn't win one this year because we decided to concentrate on the league. All good that was. So thank you, Chad. Big thumbs up. And if you can't tell, that's sarcasm. So yeah. So for me, there's some aspects of there, like the fact that we have scored the fewest both seasons. We've conceded the most. Yes, we had got more points this year per game, but we were giving away more fouls. We were conceding more penalties. We were losing players more often through suspension. We weren't offside that often, so that doesn't tell me that we were attacking that much. We obviously didn't win the trophy, and we've had 3 total coaches. So if it was me and I'm looking at, is 2022 worse than 2013? Yeah, I'd say so. I don't know whether you guys would agree with me on that one. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about it. was this year worse than 2013? Um, yeah, it is for me. Um, just seeing his eyes coming through again, just saying 3 gaffes in one season, 71 goals allowed, punting US Open Cup to focus on the playoffs. Lazard's abuse of players, it's been objectively worse. So yeah, his eyes agreeing with me on that one. Cameron, good point. 2014 was a big turnaround though. That is a very good point. And if we look at the table in 2014, let me bring the standings up. I'm going to try something new. Let's have a look. 2014. Let's do this. Have I got this set up properly? Extra camera. No, that's the button. And I want to do that. Where are we? Where are we? Bear with me, folks. So, there we go. Right. I'm just going to pop your comment away. So, let's have a little look. Oh, this is cool. So 2014 wise, you look at that. Just look at the season there. Top of the Eastern Conference. Scored 52 times. When you compare it to the 52 times of the previous year, that's a hell of a difference. One massive difference there. 17 wins compared to 3. Only 9 defeats. And only 37 goals conceded. It's just a huge turnaround. So if we are looking at it from that point of view, yeah, that's fantastic. So let's hope that is the case. Let's hope we can turn it around massively on that one. We've got Wayne's first full season with us. It'll certainly be interesting. So yeah, I like that optimism, Cameron. I like it. Taxi is innocent. The rest didn't find anything at the time of that alleged incident, which meant this investigation should have been. Yeah, I mean that's fair. The investigation should have been over a heck of a long time ago. I really don't understand why we're still having it. So yeah, so that's it. I think for me, yeah, this year has been worse. But if we can have that turnaround, I'm game for that. I don't want to have to do that all the time though, because no one wants that. Flip side, then we've got the better picks in the super draft, that kind of thing, which I know we've never really had too much of, but yes, it'd be nice to have a high pick. I do like the super draft though. I think it's great. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of things happening, so I'm intrigued to see how we deal with that one. Just in the DC UK chat, if you're not a member, do please come and join us. In Woodbridge, it's just mentioning it's going to be worse. We got a trophy in 2013 and also set an all-time record for least points. You might as well be the best or be the worst. Yeah. If you might as well set records if you're doing it. Cucho Hernandez and Santiago Sosa were both investigated, found guilty, and punished accordingly in about a week of their investigation. Yet Taxi still in Greece, cooling his heels. Why? Yeah, I mean that's a great question. Why is he still in Greece? But yeah, I mean it's an interesting time. Hopefully, we'll know soon enough. We just need to know. We just need an answer. That's all we're asking for is an answer to the investigation. But does that mean if he's found innocent, does he have this hanging over his head anyway, and he still has to leave the club because it's just there, or do we just have it ride out and hopefully because the investigation is going into this part of the season and he is found innocent and he's truly innocent, and it's just not the fact that nothing was said and he actually said something which he shouldn't have said, then it gives time for everything to blow over, which is fair. That's what we would need in this situation. But there's no good way out of this for anyone, I don't think. So, yeah, I don't like it. I don't think it's great, but it is what it is. It's a situation we're in. We just got to hope that we get the best out of this situation. So there's that. Um, that's what I wanted just to kind of talk about was this year as bad as 2013, and obviously talk about Dave and the end of that era. Hopefully next year, with the podcast anyway, we'll be bringing some extra stuff in terms of content. I want to do some different things in terms of video content. I just want to try some new stuff. I know this year's been a bit of new stuff, and I want to thank Daniel and Tom for being a part of that. That was brilliant. It's great to have you guys on as regular co-host this year. So thank you to you both. It's a shame that we are not doing it now. It's nothing personal. It's just for me, I just felt like I needed to go this way. So nothing personal. Like I said, I hope we continue talking, and I hope we remain friends and we stick together and we have plenty of good DC chats going forward. But I just wanted to place my thanks on record for what you guys have done, how you guys have helped through this year. Um, Even not just the podcast, you've helped me through some tough times this year. Just being there just for a good old chit chat. So thank you both. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Daniel. But we got to talk about last weekend's game now, which was tough to watch. It was great that it was even though it was advertised. Now this is the oddest one. So I'm used to kickoffs being 8 minutes later than your advertised time. So it was advertised at 7:30. So I was expecting 7:38. UK time, that is, not US time. But it was 25 minutes later. That blew my mind. So obviously the live stream the pre-match show didn't start at 7. It started a little bit. It started at 7:30, even though they did announce it originally at 7. It was just all a bit, but we got there eventually. And there was something before the game started. There was some good things being announced. The fact that Wayne had pre-announced in his pre-match press conference that there was going to be Akamboni, TKD, and Fletcher were all going to start. So that was great. So he's putting some confidence in the youth team, and yeah, I liked it. I thought it was great. Then we had the pre-match show, which I always enjoy watching. And then the game started. And yeah, 2-0 down within 10 minutes. That was not good. Matai had a real tough first half, I thought. Bless him, he's only 15. So being thrown in up against Brenner, up against Lucho Acosta, up against Boreal, and Brendan Vasquez, it was going to be a tough game for him. But he made mistakes. He's 15. It's going to happen. Second half, he played better. He learned from his mistakes, and he looked a little bit more solid. But yeah, that 5-2 defeat. On paper, we had more possession, 56.9 to their 43.1. Shots, you could tell we just lacked something in the second half. There was no atmosphere in the stadium. I think people were just getting frustrated. It's been a frustrating year. It was just, really, really tough. So yeah, 9 shots to their 14. We had 5 on target to their 8. They were ruthless in the first half. They had, I think it was 5 shots on target, and they scored 4 goals. Brutal, properly brutal. I felt bad for Ochoa. I think one of the goals in the first half, he was at fault for. But you looked at Brenner's third goal. That was a brilliant finish, really good finish. I still can't believe he's at Cincinnati. Looking at when back in the football manager days of a few years ago, and he was one of the wonder kids, and then suddenly he's signing for FC Cincinnati. It's just like, what? So that was a bit strange. But we did it. We had about 15 minutes of good football in the first half. For about 25 minutes to 40 minutes, we played some solid stuff, I thought. We looked good going forwards. We were getting crosses in. But we just lacked a little bit of an end product until Ravel decided to score from 25 yards. Can I just say, mwah, chef's kiss on that one. That was a beautiful finish. His second goal of the season. It was fantastic. Absolutely enjoyed that. Wonderful finish. Um, and then opening up in the second half. Again, when I was watching the broadcast, Claudia had spoken to Wayne, and he mentioned that if we could score the first goal in the second half, then we would have a chance. Yes, we were 4-1 down. But you bring us a 4-2, then you can easily just, and we got that quick goal. Then you think, oh, we can then get another, and then that really puts the pressure on going towards the final moments of the game. Unfortunately, it didn't work out like that, as we all know. But Christian Fletcher with his first MLS goal, 17-year-old, looking good, cutting in from the left-hand side and scoring it into that bottom corner was a good finish. And Wayne mentioned that that's what he sees in training. He's got a hell of a finish on him, so good that we actually got to see it in game. Some things coming through on the chat there. Cameron just said Benteke or Kamara. I'll answer that one later, actually. There's Stu's GMT, all sorts of international time zone. Then there's the MLS time zone, which just seems to be random. Stu said he'd take Benteke, but then he's always been a fan of Emil Heskey and Teddy Sheringham. Showing your age there, Stu. And then giving the kids game time is great in matches that we would like to win, sure, but realistically, the season was written off weeks ago, so give them the chances. Yeah, absolutely. We know Wayne's good for doing that. He knows that to develop kids, you need to give them match time and you need to give them experience, because it's all well and good doing it in training and doing it in reserve leagues and things like that. But until you actually get some proper first team match minutes, you don't really know what's going to hit you until it hits you. So it wasn't the ideal way to end the season. Then there was the tribute to Dave Johnson and Bill Hamid at halftime, which was apparently just a couple of minutes each. Wasn't happy about that. Bill deserved a lot more for what he's done for the club over the years. Yeah, I was amazed by that. He deserved more, and he got a plaque. It felt a bit cheap, to say the least. I mean, a plaque on the pitch, it just no, that's not how you treat one of your legends. I was really disappointed by that. And then Dave Johnson deserves, or I think we need to start a petition for a Dave Johnson statue outside Huddersfield. Who's up for it? A Dave Johnson statue. That's what we need. Yeah, I think I might start a petition for that. Or at least do a Twitter vote. See how many people would enjoy that. So not the best way to end the season. But we wrapped it up. It's over. As Wayne said, thank God that season's over. So, end of the season wise, my thoughts on that. The high point was that trip to DC. Meeting you guys out there, that was phenomenal. Doing the live show with Daniel, with Tom, meeting Dave Johnson, having Devon suddenly appear, and being on the show, that was superb. That was amazing. I would love to have obviously had my family out there at the same time, but obviously it wasn't the case, and the trip was shorter than expected. I would love to have been there for the full 10 days, but I would love to be back out there next year. It would be fantastic. We'll see what happens. I would love to do another live show. It would be phenomenal. But we'll see what happens. We'll see where the winds take us. So for me, that was a massive high point. Low point of the season would be just those heavy defeats throughout the year. I mean, especially there's two off the top of my head, which is the Philly games, which I know has been spoken about with you guys out there when I asked the question for the high points and the low points. But yeah, that was tough. And then next year, what am I looking forward to? A full season of Wayne Rooney. I'm looking forward to the off season and seeing what types of players we bring in, Because, yep, he had a couple of times where he obviously brought Benteke in, he's brought Ravel Morrison in. Um, I'm really interested to see what he does in terms of the talent that's going to come in. I'm interested to see what he's going to do with the youth players. The likes of Matai, the likes of Christian, the likes of TKD, the likes of Jackson Hopkins. Um, yeah, I'm intrigued to see how things are going to unfold, especially in the early parts of the season. I think we have a good idea where we are as a club when it comes to mid-April, and whether we are truly moving forward or whether we're just stagnating and just going to be in the doldrums for another few years. Because if we don't do anything, then that's it. It's going to be a long time before we end up being at the top end of the league again. In terms of the statue, again, I'm just seeing over in the DC UK chat. So as you'll see, just going along the bottom there, dcunited.com/membership. Get on there now. There is an actual link in the description. It's got to be a statue or something. I was thinking the Mount Rushmore for DC United. Jaime Moreno, Marco Echeverri, Eddie Pope, and Dave Johnson. Yeah, that would be quite cool to have. The four of them as a statue, as a Mount Rushmore tribute. That would be very cool. But we need something for Dave as a bare minimum. We need a statue. So, in terms of you guys out there, some of the highs were about the live show, which was great to hear. The lows, things like having to sack Lasada and the whole Lasada gate, and all that jazz. Recruitment got better, which we're starting to see, but we need, as much as I hate saying things like this, but we need to get rid of Dave Casper. He's one of the few old guard left, and when I say old guard, I mean really old guard. We just need some fresh blood in there, just to keep things going. Fresh ideas, all that. With the likes of when we've brought Lucy in, we've brought Sean in. You've got the likes of Stuart Mayers, all those types of guys who have a different type of background in terms of what they do and how they look at the game. When you compare to Dave Casper, who looks at it from this is just outside opinion, this is not fact. From a monetary value, bottom line value, what type of player you can get for, I mean, in terms of the most value, but it's always going to be bottom dollar. It's always going to be the bargain basement kind of players. He's not the kind of person who would be able to bring in the top dogs. It'd be interesting to see what does happen. And there's a lot of talk over on the internet about boycotts and things like that, and because Dave Casper's still there and fans are frustrated, and I get that. I truly do get that. It's been tough. It's been a long time since we've won a trophy, and then something needs to change. Something needs to change. What else we got? Taxi situation seems like a low point. Really hope the league can conclude this in a positive way. Hoping that was just a mishearing. I think that would be the best scenario, best outcome is it was just being misheard, because Taxi does have a heavy accent. He's from Greece, and things will be misinterpreted. He has been a phenomenal player for us this year, leading goal scorer, and great to see. Low points again. There was the Philly, the conceding 13 goals in 2 games and not scoring either. Figuring out how to defeat Philly should serve the team well to contend in the East. I mean, they have been a bit of a bogey team for us for a long time now. Something needs to give there. High points, Rooney as DC United manager and the comeback win against Orlando. Yeah, absolutely. That was in one of Rooney's early games. I think that was from Harish, who was a DC UK member. He was at that game, so seeing that live was special for him. Low point for him there is weak defense and mentality in general. Doesn't feel like there's a lot of character in the team. So there's that identity crisis kind of moment there. Hopes for 2023 is twofold. Team becomes more resilient and are harder to beat, and a better match day atmosphere. And and I think that kind of goes hand in hand with what I was talking about in the second half against Cincinnati, and the fact that it was, for me, that was the quietest I've ever heard Audi Field. All you could hear was the guy with the megaphone, and that was it. There was very little atmosphere. It felt like it was the Emirates, Arsenal Stadium. Yeah, didn't like that. It made it a much tougher watch as well. Yes, it wasn't great on the pitch, but when you're not hearing anything in terms of the crowd, it just it dials it up in terms of the awkwardness and just there was times when I was just wasn't paying attention fully to the game because there was just no atmosphere. So hopefully that will get better next year, but that will naturally come with better results. So those are kind of the high points and the low points, which is what I got from you guys when I asked the question. Like I said, my high points was obviously the trip to DC and being able to see you guys. Yeah, I would love to do that again. It was really, really cool. The hospitality was fantastic. Being able to go to the stadium and interview Rory and Sean and Tony Alfaro, and actually meet him on the place in person, and that was just crazy. Sam, so I want to thank Sam for helping out this year. He's been phenomenal. So Sam, if you are listening, thank you very much. It's been wonderful again working alongside you to help bring the show to that wider audience, and looking forward to working with you for 2023. That's just mad. This is the 99th episode, and that's how we're going to end it this year. So we're going to start next year with the 100th episode. That's going to be amazing. Can't wait for that. I'm going to try and make it as special as possible. So keep your eyes out for that. Make sure you are subscribed, because it's going to be a big one. It's going to be an awesome one. So that leaves us with a couple of last things before we wrap up the show and wrap up the season, which is the trivia time question. So you might remember, if you've been watching or listening right from the very beginning, which was, oh no, it's not trivia time, it's fan question time. Ignore me. So we had one question in from Victor. He's asking, do we bring Cristiano Ronaldo in? He's looking for a new club, apparently, as he's not getting on too well at Man United. So would we bring him in? There's questions of the fact that he's getting older and he's losing it a little bit. Interesting. Could we afford him? Probably not. No. When you look at the spend and you look at what's been said, middle of the park. So let's think about it. Which middle of the park star players do we want to go for? Ronaldo's not there. He's upper end. So as much as it would be great, one, just from a merchandise and financial and ticket selling point of view, that would be insane. Would he disrupt the harmony? Potentially. It could either go one or two. It could either be catastrophic for the club in terms of financial and being able to afford stuff, and then on the pitch it could cause issues, or it could be brilliant. It could be the best thing that we've ever had. It could be, ticket sales go through the roof. People turn up on time. We sell many more shirts. We make more money. We're then able to afford the better players going forward. There's no way, if we were to bring him in there would be a middle of the road situation that we'd have. It wouldn't be a case of, yeah, he did all right. He sold a few tickets, sold a few shirts. That wouldn't happen. Not with Cristiano Ronaldo. It would either be all or bust. And I would unfortunately think it would be more bust than anything. So, yeah, for me, I take a pass on him, unfortunately. 2 years ago, yeah, I would have said yes. But now I'm gonna have to say no. I'm sorry. Sorry to say. So yeah. Anyway, now it's trivia time. Because sometimes I struggle to keep the right order. So as you remember, DC United have unfortunately conceded the most goals this year in MLS regular season, which was 71. But how many times have we conceded the most in over the previous years? The last time we conceded, so I'm just going to go back to that match. Would be epic, but he'd be there for a year at most before he flattened it and went back to Europe or retired. Yeah, it's very true. Very, very true. So yeah, in terms of conceding the most goals, we've done it once before. That was in the year 2000 when we conceded 63 goals. So, and that's in the league. I've not actually looked at how many times we've conceded 71 or more, or 70 if we've conceded more than 63. But in terms of the entire league, we were conceded the most in the league once before, which isn't a bad record. It's not a great record, but it is what it is. So that's it. That's another season wrapped up. Season 4 of the DC United Kingdom podcast is over. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in over this year. And if you're a long-time listener, thank you for your continued support. If you're a new listener, thank you for becoming a new listener. I do implore you to come and join us at DC UK. I know we're coming up to the end of the season, but now's as good a time as any. There's always some great chat happening. We'll obviously have a lot to talk about with the World Cup coming up. USA versus England. We'll have lots to talk about with transfers. I have no doubt about that. And keeping an eye on where our scouts are going, whether they're in South America, whether in Europe, and trying to find out who we could be signing, things like that. It's going to be an interesting time. So please do come over. It's free to join, but there's 2 paid tiers now. We've got a monthly membership, which is in British currency, it's £5 a month. Or if you're looking at a yearly membership, it is £40, and you do get a members t-shirt that goes along with that. So do keep that in your mind if you do want to come and join us. Like I say, subscribe to the channel. Like this particular episode if you can. And if you're on the channel page, just go through just like the other episodes as well. Why not? Watch it there. I want to do some more sort of fun clips and things like that. So get back to doing those kind of things, stories. I want to get back to more interviews next year. So keep your eyes out for things like that. Keep doing what we're doing. Keep loving this. I love doing this. It's fantastic. I love communicating and connecting with you guys out there. I like to think I've made quite a few friends since started doing this. So that's 99 episodes done. But this podcast ain't one. Booyah. Until next time. Vamos United.
Swallowed on record, off record, I still want the act, not the ghost.